My name is Daniel, and today, I want to tell you a story from my life, a story that changed me forever. This is not just a story about pain, it's a story about family, about ego, and about a bond that time could not break. I had an older brother. His name was David. He wasn't just my brother, he was my best friend. We grew up together, shared everything, and stood by each other no matter what. People used to say that we were inseparable. If you saw Daniel, you saw David. If you saw David, you saw Daniel. As kids, we laughed together, fought small fights, and then forgot them within minutes. He always protected me. No matter how big the problem was, I knew one thing for sure: my brother would always stand beside me, and I did the same for him. Our mother used to smile and say, "No matter what happens in life, never let this bond break." We would laugh and say, "That will never happen." But life has its own plans. As we grew older, things started to change. Responsibilities increased. Financial pressure began to build. Life was no longer just about laughter and games. I was more emotional, impulsive. David, on the other hand, was calm and practical. Sometimes our opinions clashed, but even then, we never imagined that something could ever come between us. Until one day, everything changed. It was an ordinary day, nothing special, but both of us were already stressed. The financial situation at home wasn't good. Bills were piling up. Tension was in the air. A small disagreement turned into an argument. At first, it was normal. Then, it got personal. "You always tried to control everything," I shouted. "I'm trying to help you," David replied, but I wasn't ready to listen. "You think you're always right, don't you?" I said with anger. There was a silence, a heavy silence. David looked at me, hurt. And then suddenly slapped. His hand hit my face. For a moment, everything stopped. The room went silent. My mind went blank. I couldn't believe it. The brother who had always protected me, the one who never even raised his voice at me, he had just slapped me. My eyes filled with tears, not just from pain, but from shock. I looked at him, and something inside me broke. "From today," I said slowly, my voice shaking, "I have no relationship with you, Daniel. Listen to me." He tried to speak, but I didn't want to hear anything. My ego was louder than his voice. I walked out of the house, and that day, I walked out of his life. Days passed, then weeks. Then months. No calls, no messages, no visits. We lived in the same city, but became strangers. Years went by. 7 years. 7 long years of silence. Sometimes, late at night, I would think about him. I would remember our childhood, our laughter, our bond. But every time, my ego stopped me. He slapped me. It was his fault, I would tell myself. Maybe he thought the same. Life moved on. I got married. And then, my son was born. He became the center of my world. For the first time in years, I felt complete. But deep inside, there was still an empty space, a space that only my brother could fill. But I ignored it. I never tried to fix things. And then, one night, everything changed again. My son suddenly fell very sick. He had a high fever, and he wasn't responding. I panicked. I rushed him to the hospital. Doctors examined him. Tests were done. I stood outside, waiting, praying, hoping. After some time, the doctor came out. His face was serious. "Your son is in critical condition," he said. My heart dropped. "Doctor, please tell me he'll be okay," I said, my voice trembling. He paused for a moment, then said, "Treatment is possible, but it's expensive." "How much?" I asked immediately. He looked straight at me and said, $100,000. I felt like the ground beneath me disappeared. $100,000. I didn't even have a fraction of that amount. My business wasn't doing well. I was already struggling financially. And now, at that moment, I realized something very important. Life is not about ego. Life is not about winning arguments. Sometimes, life brings you to a point where you have to choose between your pride and your loved ones. And I was standing at that point, completely helpless, not knowing what to do next. I stood outside the hospital room, staring at the cold white walls, trying to process what the doctor had just said. $100,000. The number kept echoing in my mind. Inside that room, my son was fighting for his life, and outside, I was fighting with reality. I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone. At that moment, I realized something. I wasn't just a father anymore. I was a man who had to beg. The first person I called was my closest friend. We had known each other for years. We had shared meals, laughter, secrets, everything. He picked up the phone. Daniel. It's been a while, brother. What's up? His cheerful tone made it even harder for me to speak. My son. He's in the hospital, I said, my voice shaking. He's very sick. I need help. There was a pause. What kind of help? He asked. I need money. I forced myself to say, a lot of it. How much? He asked. I closed my eyes and said, $100,000. Double quotes silence. The kind of silence that gives you your answer before words do. Daniel. That's a huge amount, he finally said. I wish I could help, but I'm not in a position right now. Not in a position. I nodded slowly. Even though he couldn't see me, I understand, I said quietly, and ended the call. But the truth was, I didn't understand. I stood there for a few seconds, holding my phone tightly. Then I dialed another number. Another friend. Then another. And another. Each call, each hope, ended the same way. Sorry, bro. I wish I could. It's too much. I'm helpless. Some didn't even pick up. Some saw my call and ignored it. With every rejection, something inside me was breaking. These were the same people who once said, we're always here for you. But today, no one was there. I leaned against the wall, feeling weaker with every passing second. But I couldn't stop. I still had one option left. Family. I called my relatives, uncles, cousins, people who had eaten at my table, people whose weddings I had attended, people who called me their own. Daniel, we're sorry. We don't have that kind of money. Times are tough. We can't help. One by one, every door closed. And the worst part, some of them were lying. I knew they had money. I knew they could help, but they chose not to. At that moment, I realized a painful truth. Not everyone who smiles with you stands with you. Hours passed. My phone slowly slipped from my hand. I sat down on the hospital bench, completely broken. My son was inside, fighting for his life. And I had nothing left. No money. No support. No hope. Tears rolled down my face as I buried my head in my hands. For the first time in years, my ego felt small. Useless. Heavy. And then, a name appeared in my mind. A name I had been avoiding for 7 years. David. My elder brother. My real brother. The one I had walked away from. The one I had blamed. The one I had not spoken to. For 7 long years. My heart started beating faster. No, I whispered to myself. I can't call him. My ego. Still alive. Still strong. Still stopping me. But what about your son? A voice inside me asked. I closed my eyes. Memories flashed in my mind. Our childhood. His care. His love. And then, that slap. I clenched my fists. 7 years of silence. 7 years of distance. What would I even say? Would he even pick up? Would he reject me? The same way I rejected him. The questions were endless. But time was running out. I looked toward the hospital room. My son, lying there, helpless. At that moment, I understood something clearly. This was not about me anymore. This was about my child. Slowly, with trembling hands, I picked up my phone. I scrolled through my contacts, and there it was. David. His number. Still saved. I stared at it for a long time. My thumb hovered over the call button. My heart was pounding. This is the last option, I whispered. And then, I pressed call. The phone started ringing. Each ring felt heavier than the last. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 click. The call connected. I froze. For a moment, neither of us spoke. 7 years. And now, silence again. Then finally, a familiar voice. Hello. My throat went dry. I couldn't speak. Hello. Who is this? He asked again. I gathered all my courage and said softly, Bye. It's me, Daniel. Silence. Deep silence. The kind that carries years of pain. And then, I heard something I never expected. His voice. Trembling. Daniel. Daniel? His voice trembled as he said my name. For a moment, I couldn't speak. 7 years of silence. 7 years of distance. And now, just hearing his voice, broke something inside me. Bye. I finally said, my voice shaking. I need help. There was no ego left in my voice. No anger. No pride. Just pain. Just helplessness. What happened? David asked immediately. His tone changed from shock to concern. My son. He's in the hospital, I said. He's very sick. What? Which hospital? What happened to him? He asked quickly. His questions came one after another, full of worrying. At that moment, I realized something. No matter how many years pass, a real brother never stops caring. I took a deep breath and said, Doctor said, his treatment will cost $100,000. There was silence again, but this time, It felt different, not like rejection, not like hesitation. Just thinking. I tried everyone. I continued, my voice breaking. My friends, my relatives. No one helped me. My eyes filled with tears. I didn't want to call you, I admitted. But I have no other choice. The words felt heavy, but true. For a few seconds, David didn't say anything. Then he spoke. And what he said, I will never forget. Why didn't you call me earlier? I froze. Not anger, not blame. Just pain. And love. I'm coming, he said. What? I whispered. I'm coming right now. Stay there. And before I could say anything, he ended the call. I stood there, holding my phone, unable to move. Did that really just happen? No questions, no complaints, no reminders of the past. Just, I'm coming. I looked at the hospital entrance. Every second felt like a minute. My heart was racing. I didn't know what to expect. Would he really come? After everything, after 7 years, after the way I left. And then, about 20 minutes later, a car stopped outside the hospital. The door opened, and I saw him. David. He looked older, more tired, but it was him. My brother. For a moment, we just looked at each other. No words. No movement. 7 years of distance, standing between us. Then suddenly, he walked toward me. Fast. And before I could react, he pulled me into a tight hug. A real hug, the kind you feel in your soul. And that's when I broke. Tears started flowing from my eyes. I held him tightly, like I never wanted to let go. I'm sorry, I said, crying. I'm so sorry. Bye. He didn't let me finish. It's okay, he whispered. It's okay. And in that moment, 7 years of pain, 7 years of silence, melted away. We both stood there, crying like children. No ego. No anger. Just love. After a few moments, he held my shoulders and looked at me. Where is he? He asked. I pointed toward the room. We both walked inside. My son was lying there, weak, unconscious. David walked closer, looked at him, and then looked at me. Don't worry, he said firmly. He will be fine. But the money, I said helplessly. He didn't let me finish. I'll take care of it. I stared at him. What do you mean? I asked. I mean, he said calmly, your son is my son too. My eyes filled with tears again. Bye. It's too much. I can't, Daniel, he interrupted. You already lost 7 years. Don't waste another second. I couldn't say anything. I just nodded. That same night, David arranged the money. I don't know how he did it. I didn't ask. Because at that moment, it didn't matter. What mattered was he showed up. When no one else did. The treatment started immediately. Days passed. Every day, David stayed with me at the hospital. He didn't leave. Not even once. He handled everything, doctors, bills, medicines. And slowly, my son started recovering. The day the doctor said, he's out of danger, I felt like I got my life back. I looked at David, and I realized something. I didn't just get my son back that day. I got my brother back too. The day my son opened his eyes, I felt like I had been given a second life. I rushed toward him, held his tiny hand, and tears rolled down my face. Papa, he whispered weakly. That one word, it healed something inside me. I looked at David, who was standing quietly near the door. Our eyes met. No words were needed. We both knew. This moment was not just about my son. It was about us. About what we lost and what we found again. After a few days, my son was discharged from the hospital. We came back home, but this time, nothing felt the same, because this time, my brother walked in with me. Yes. After 7 long years, David came back into my life, and this time, I wasn't going to let him go again. One evening, we were sitting together, just like old times, silence, but a peaceful one. I looked at him and said, Bye, why did you help me? He looked at me, slightly surprised. What kind of question is that? He said. I lowered my eyes and said, after everything, after the way I left, after 7 years, you still came. He smiled softly. And then he said something that I will never forget. Because you're my brother. That's it. No long explanation. No conditions. Just one truth. Blood is blood. He continued. Friends come and go. Relatives change with time. But a brother remains a brother. My eyes filled with tears again. I realized how wrong I was. For 7 years, I held on to one moment, one mistake, one slap, and I ignored a lifetime of love. David didn't just save my son. He saved me. He helped me restart my life. He supported me financially. He helped me rebuild my work. Step by step, he stood beside me, not as someone doing a favor, but as someone fulfilling a bond that I had broken, but he never did. Today, when I look back at my life, I don't remember the slap anymore. I remember the hug. God, I remember the moment he said, "I'm coming." I remember the way he stood beside me when the whole world walked away. And that's why I'm telling you this story today, because maybe someone out there is making the same mistake I made, holding on to ego, holding on to anger, ignoring the people who truly matter. Let me tell you something: don't wait for life to break you before you fix your relationships, because sometimes you don't get a second chance. Friends may leave, relatives may refuse, but when everything falls apart, your own blood, your family, your brother, that's who stands with you. If you still have someone in your life, someone you haven't talked to because of ego, call them before it's too late. Final message: this story is not just a story, it's a reminder. Never let ego destroy a real relationship, because in the end, blood is always stronger than anything else. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real-life emotional stories that teach powerful life lessons. We bring you inspiring stories to improve your English and your thinking. Like, share, and stay connected. Your support helps us create more meaning.